Yes, I'm up. So I like Python, but what I really don't like is when I have this nice, beautiful, elegant Python project of some type.
Is that better?
I'm invisible to microphones.
Any better now? Okay, I'll just lean. What I don't like is when I have a beautiful Python project and for some reason it depends on some horrible shell script to be deployed or to set up my data or whatever. So I try to find ways to get rid of those, and this talk is about a tool called Plumbum that makes that pretty easy. So Plumbum is the Latin word for lead. Nobody here cares about that, but it's also a Python module. And what you can use it for is wrap command line programs like ls or cd or grep or any of your standard tools. It has some tools to make dealing with your shell type environments really easy. Utilities for moving files around, which is sometimes annoying in standard library Python. It has some tools for remote execution of commands on other machines, and it also has a framework for building your own command line apps, which is really cool, but I probably won't get to. So to wrap the commands, you import this local object, which basically represents your machine, and then you use the get item syntax to basically that will go find on your path that command, wrap it up in a Python object, and give it back to you. But you don't have to do it that way, because there's a virtual module called CMD in the Plumbum library that you just import the name of the command you want, and it'll give it to you as a Python object if it finds it on your path. So you run it by calling it. When you call it, you can pass it more arguments if you want to pass parameters to things. You can also save the arguments onto the thing, and that gives you a bound command, so you save a set of parameters with the command, and you can pass it around like a function or any other Python object. It's pretty awesome. You can pipe them, because of Python's operator overloading. They overloaded the pipe character to basically pipe these commands together. You can do pretty much the same thing with output redirection, which is pretty awesome. There is an explicit run method on these objects, which you can use if you need to get the exit code, because it gives you back a tuple with the exit code, standard out, and standard error. And you can also get a regular subprocess popen thing if you need to talk back and forth with the thing. You run stuff in the background and wait on it if you want to, just see when it's ready. You can also pass it to this FG foreground thing, which basically just sends it to standard out. You can also pass these commands to other commands. Sometimes that gets a little complex and makes things explode. If the underlying binary doesn't know what to do with output redirection operators, you can get yourself into trouble. This is one of my favorite parts. The local object has a path method, which creates these local path objects, which you can use, and they're much more convenient than the standard library path module. They have some operators overloaded too, you'll notice. You also have this which method, which will tell you where things are, and the Python object on there, which tells you what the local Python interpreter is, and you can send stuff to it. CWD tells you what your current working directory is, but it's also a context manager. So you can change your current working directory and then have it change back out as soon as you leave the with block. You can do similar things with the env. I don't know what it really is, but it kind of looks like a mapping. But it's also a context manager, so you can set environment variables, do something that requires it, and then set it back. And it also has a few nifty convenience functions, so you can call the user thing, and it'll give you back either the user environment variable or on Windows, what's it called, OC? username, something like that. But it works on Windows too, and it'll give you back whatever you really want instead of whatever you asked for. It also has these are pretty cool functions. They don't sound very cool because they obviously copy, move, and delete files. But copy is completely recursive, not almost completely recursive like the shutil copy utilities. And you can use them to send stuff to remote machines, and you just give it a path that's remote, and it'll just do it. You can give it 2 remote paths to 2 different machines, and it'll copy it down to your local machine and send it off. There's tons more.